Hello, 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 everybody. It is so great to see all of your beautiful, non-existent faces. Welcome. Hi, I can't believe we already hit that hype train. Woo, woo, so early in the morning. Wow, well, it's 3 p.m. here, really. So thank you for tuning in to episode 7 of Arc 2 of our main D&D campaign. The title of this episode is Truth, Murder, Us All. My name is Connie, my pronouns are they, he, and she, and I am your GM and executive producer behind our all-transgender, people of color-led, 100% homebrew Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition livestream actual campaign set in an original, non-colonial, anti-orientalist world. You can find me on Twitter at @ByConnieChong and on Tumblr at @DandDaddyIssues. I am also a professional GM with Magpie Games' curated play program. I'm going to pass along introductions now to C.
Hey y'all, my name is C. I use they, them pronouns. I am a dancer, digital artist, Twitch streamer, and I don't know, some other stuff probably too. You can find me streaming right here on Twitch at pi_sharp on Tuesdays, Fridays, and Sundays at 2 p.m. Central Time. I also am on the internet on Twitter and Instagram at pi_sharpart or on Tumblr at pi-sharp. And I'm going to pass along introductions to Max.
Hey y'all, I'm Max. I go by they, them pronouns. I play Dewey Quirk, Pigeon Boy. And you can find me on the internet at Starchmonger on Instagram and also Stitchmonger on Instagram. Check out my Etsy page. I'm gonna pass it to Devin.
Hello, my name is Devin. I use they, them pronouns. I'm wearing a Sweber today. And you can find me on our Discord server. It's a really wonderful place full of a lot of amazing people. We like to celebrate being trans, being queer, being all that kind of fun stuff. Celebrate the positivity, share funny quotes of the shit we say on stream, theorize about the campaign, and most importantly, share pictures of your pets, because I have the cutest dog and the cutest fox plushie, and if you disagree, you better get into the Discord server and prove me wrong. Okay. I'll pass it on to Erica.
Hi everybody, I'm Erica, she, her pronouns, and I play Vinox Scherzo here on this campaign, that lovable elf sorcerer with draconic ancestry. And you can find me, I am a Twitch streamer here at Erica New Girl, where I just want to say we raised $2,425 yesterday for Trans Lifeline. And I just want to thank, I know a lot of people from this community showed up and chatted, kept me company during the 12-hour prom stream. And a lot of members of this community also donated things for giveaways, including art commissions, D&D modules, one-shot campaigns, stuff like that. So I just want to express my gratitude for all of you and all that you did. And yeah, I'm so grateful. And I will pass it back on to Connie.
Wonderful. So, let's just move on. A quick reminder about our programming. We've changed our schedule. So the only piece of programming we have through Transplanar RPG is this. This is our weekly D&D session, Saturdays at 3 p.m. U.S. Central Time. So we would greatly appreciate your support in helping us along this adjustment by continuing to tune in on Saturdays, telling your friends about us, rating us, hosting us, tweeting about us, etc. Your support, word of mouth, really, really means a lot to us in this time of transition. Transition.
And if you have Amazon Prime, you get a free subscription to one channel of your choice.
That's true. We would love to be that channel for you. And now passing things along to C.
Yes, and of course, we're wonderful and you love us, but don't forget to check out our other promo partners with trans, queer, and BIMPOC-led streams, pods, and projects by using the ! Promo partners command in chat at any point. And you know us, you love us. If you want to get to our merch store, you can use the ! Merch command to get there and get yourself a sticker, t-shirt, sweatshirt, mug, iPhone case, hat, mask, anything you want. And I know I say this literally every single time, but I will put new merch up, I swear. I just forget. I immediately forget. I know, I'm sorry.
And now moving things along to Erica.
Yes, hello everybody. We love here at Transplanar to acknowledge the people who have subbed, gift subbed, resubbed, given bits, donations, everything like that. And so this is for episode 6 and for our special Valentine's Thirsty Sword Lesbians one-shot we did last weekend. River watches live streams, Vinatau, Yikes It's Tristan, Dungeon Meowster, and Max Morkson. Thank you so much, everybody, for supporting this channel. And while I'm at it, let's talk about our overlays just for a moment. We have a 25 sub goal. It looks like perhaps we hit it earlier during that hype train. All I'm saying, so for every when we hit 5 subs on this, that grants the party a point of collective inspiration. 15 subs gets us an auto crit that anyone, including the GM, can use. And when we get to 25 subs, that triggers a PC's backstory flashback. GM Connie will roll a d4, and whoever the number lands on will be pulled into a flashback scene of the GM's choice. So, dun 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 dun. And Max, could you please inform us about what is going on in this campaign?
Of course. If you forget at any time, you can use the exclamation point recap command in the chat, or go to bit.ly/transrecap. Here's what happened last time, if you don't want to go read right now. Last episode, we saw a V and Rev kiss, but was it a romantic kiss or just like a friendly, pact-binding business deal kiss? No one can quite figure it out, least of all V. The team arrived in Green Open Water, where Manaya's parents were last supposed to be. Weirdly, there are way fewer people there than Manaya remembers. They visit Miss Weaveshifter, who says Manaya's parents' boat is in the ship graveyard. On the way there, Dewey and Oka pass abandoned houses, some with blood and signs of a struggle. Back outside Miss Weaveshifter's house, V and Rev have a moment to themselves, until V detects that they're not alone, and suddenly forgets what she was just doing. That takes us to today's session. Devin, tell us all about it.
Yeah, so as always, the titles of our sessions come from queer, trans, and or BIMPOC poets, and sometimes lyricists. So today's episode is titled, I hate English. Today's episode is titled Truth Murder Us All, which is from the poem Skipping Stones by Nasreen Muhammad in the anthology Queer Voices, Poetry, Prose, and Pride. The full verse...
I don't have access to the anthology. I believe it was yours.
It was mine.
Yeah.
Oh,
so it's fine. We don't have to, you know what? Let's put the full verse up unless you have it literally right there. While you're doing that, Devin, I'm going to roll that D4, actually.
Yeah,
while you look for the verse.
No!
No.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, please.
So I need all of you to raise a finger 1 to 4. Okay, so Oka is 3.
Wait.
Oka's 1. Okay. Dewey is 4. Manaya is 2, and V is 3. And I'm gonna roll this D4 and see whose backstory flashback we're gonna unlock. Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Got it. I got it.
Oh, the fear.
I
Yes,
swear
you
if
should be
it's
scared.
If it's another V backstory, I'll be so...
3 V's in a
Hey,
row.
okay. I've got it. So, sorry, I didn't realize this was from one of my books. So yeah, this is from the anthology Queer Voices, Poetry, Prose, and Pride, which is put together in collaboration with Andrea Jenkins, who is a wonderful human being who you should all know and adore, because I do. And the full verse reads, "We believe our numbness will protect us, until the blood spilled is ours, for the lies that are new, truth murder us all eventually."
Thank you, Devin. And with that, moving on to the session itself, some content warnings for this campaign and this session specifically may include addiction, memory loss, fantasy violence, death of loved ones, emotional trauma and baggage, self-destructive behavior, bloodletting, cults and cult-like behavior, anxiety and panic attacks described in detail, poverty and classism, a refugee crisis, natural disasters, and economic injustice. So we run a very fun and lighthearted campaign here. So let's begin. You have always lived alone. Your house, which has 2 bedrooms, and pictures on the walls that don't make sense, has always held you, and only you. When you make dinner, you use knives you don't remember buying, and you set a large table for one. When you bathe with the bucket and the rag, You scrub the mud from your ankles, and you don't remember how you know to do that. When you sleep, you whisper prayers you don't remember learning, and you dream of faces you forget in the morning. The north shore of green open water has always been your home. It has always had too many other houses, houses you are scared to go inside, but you don't know why. It has always just been you and Miss Weave Shifter, and the two of you have always been alone. So why, Trout, does it feel like someone's always watching? V. You and Rev stand outside Miss Weave Shifter's home, the black tongue lapping at the shore behind you. The smell of smoke overpowers the sea brine debris as V, your ring of fire, blazes 20 feet tall, a shimmering red wall that threatens to engulf all the empty wooden houses of green open water's north shore. But this fire is contained, V. You contained it for a reason. Because you can't really remember. So tell me, what do you do or say or think to struggle past this miasma and recall your objective?
V's gonna look around and see Rev beside me. Do I remember Rev? Is that like something like what do I
Yeah, you remember
know?
Rev. You know that you're here to do something and you're here to investigate something about Manaya's parents. You're here to follow breadcrumbs about Manaya's parents, but why did you cast this wall of fire? The details of why you're suddenly in fight or flight mode are it's like this fog has descended in your brain, filling your mind space with cotton balls. What do you do, say, or think to fight through it?
V is going to go ahead and let the wall of fire dissipate. She's gonna look at Rev and be like, Did something happen, friend? What? Where did our friends go?
So, V, your fire turns down like you're dialing it all the way back down on a stove. It peters down, it turns blue, and then snuffs out. As you turn to Rev, she also looks a little confused. She's standing there, like, one hand is on her whip, right? Another hand has taken out a dagger, but she's standing there looking kind of disoriented, right? Like her handsome features sort of knotted together. And she goes, V, I'm not sure. Something isn't quite right. V, I feel like you shouldn't have let that fire down. I feel like there's something here with us. You said something about voices that you could sense.
Yes, you're right. I was sensing the thoughts around us, and there was invisible things around us. I couldn't see anything, but I heard them running away, and yes, you're right. I threw up a wall of fire, and like things start. I feel like
Yeah, it starts clearing up. Yep. Yep, it's like Rev's
of
voice. It's like a gust of wind pushing the fog back out, and the reality of the situation becomes clear to you now. And as soon as you like remember, okay, you cast detect thoughts, you like sensed 7 or 8 like invisible minds like right behind you. You couldn't see them when you turned around, and that's why you had cast Wall of Fire to contain this invisible or unseen creature or whatever. But then things started getting kind of foggy. And as you turn to the spot where you let the Wall of Fire drop, what do you do or say?
I think I think I want to just shoot a fire. I'm gonna cast fireball at that spot and just see what happens.
Okay. Sure. So that's a dex save, right?
Yep.
Okay. So what does it look like as Fireball comes out?
So V's just gonna look over the spot and just fling her hand with the diamond. A spark is gonna come out and just fly right into that spot, land to the center of where the wall fire was, and then just boom, this giant ball of fire with 20 feet in any direction just blows up and lasts for a few moments and then dissipates.
Okay. It's like a mini sun, like coming into existence, and this is just pure destructive force. V. So I'm gonna need you to make an Arcana check to see if you cause collateral damage.
Sure. I probably did.
See how well
Let's
you
see.
can control your spell casting.
That's a 5.
Okay. The fireball splashes, and I think in your fervor, like bits of like mortar and just flame just go poof, they explode outward and they slam into like several nearby buildings, and they begin to catch on fire. Because they're made of wood. Wet wood, sure, but this is like a spell that you've cast, and like some of like the little charred like swamp grasses also begin to smoke and char, and like a bunch of smoke begins to rise as it's smoldering, and the fire, 2 houses are now ablaze and they begin to spread. But in that brief splash of light caused by this fireball streaking, something is illuminated. It flickers into existence for half a second. For like half a second, you see something standing in front of you, probably only 10 feet away. And it is like, it's a creature that I'm not sure you've ever seen before. At first, you're like, is that a giraffe? And then you realize the only thing that made you think that maybe it was a giraffe is because it has a neck that is very, very, very long. But instead of just one neck, there are several. Just that flash, it looked like there could have been anywhere between 5 to 10 necks. And the necks all end in these grotesque looking kind of twisted faces. And their mouths are all open. And in that moment, it was illuminated like that scene from Over the Garden Wall when you see the beast for just a flash. And then it's gone. You don't catch any other details whatsoever. It's like it's gone, like it's turned invisible or something, or slips beneath your notice again. But in that split second, several of these heads mounted on these slender, pale, kind of like slippery looking necks of this creature, several of the faces snap toward you, and you hear this thing. I think, let's say your detect thoughts like field of like psychic magic is still shimmering a little bit around you, and its mind sort of connect with yours almost unintentionally for a moment, and you get a glimpse into its surface thought. And you hear it just sort of go, meh, these 2 things are inedible. Inedible, they're inedible. We can't eat them. Let's go. I saw something burning on the South Shore. Let's go. Food, more food. Fresh meat. We're so hungry. Let's go. And all these different voices coalesce together, like mashing into each other. And then you feel their presences slip beyond what you can sense. And with that, let's go back to Oka, Manaya, and Dewey. The 3 of you are at the ship graveyard, this kind of swampy pond, choked with weeds, with several like dead old ships like sinking in this swampy pond. You see only their masts peeking out from several of them. Several of the more newer ones are just broken in the middle, and parts of their hulls are smashed against, this sludgy shore, and cypress trees sort of dangle all around their knees. You can't tell the difference between what are trees' knees and just shattered remnants of past and beautiful ships that have now been brought low by decay and storm. So Manaya, Oka, and Dewey, the 3 of you under Manaya's rather, let's say, compromised command, have been instructed to repair a frankly kind of unrepairable ship with a acute lack of proper materials or tools to do so. What do the 3 of you do?
Here's a question. Do we hear the fireball or see the smoke, or not yet?
I'm going to say not yet. You're a quarter of a mile away, which is pretty far, and there's quite a few like trees and houses between you. But let's say in just a few minutes, you'll start to see smoke above the tree line, but not yet. What do you do?
Oka is gonna take like a sidelong look at Dewey. And then look at Manaya. Get like the plank of wood in their hands. Is Manaya just still like doing stuff, just going for it still?
Yeah, any materials that you've brought to her, she's literally hammering the ship together with the blunt side of her axe, chopping wood into pieces that are moldable. She is, if she has any cloth from Dewey, she's sewing that together instead of two sails like a regular sloop, into one large fore to aft sail, more Uhàn style.
Oka kind of stands back for a moment watching. And then they move forward and put a firm hand on Manaya's shoulder. Manaya.
Sorry.
I need you to stop.
No, I can't. My parents are out there. Look, can you help me hammer this nail? I think it's stuck in something.
Manaya. It's stuck in something because this is not a viable ship. I have never sailed in my life, but I know that to be true.
No, but we can fix it up. All right, I just need a few more nails, a little more cloth, and some time. Just a little more time.
We'll have time, Manaya. I know, well, going out into the middle of the ocean to try to chart this course it's not possible.
Okay. Parents are out there. I thought they were dead. You even convinced me they were dead. Princess of Leaves says they're out there, and if they are... Look, would you hammer that nail? I need to sew this cloth together.
Manaya, we can't swim to the bottom of the ocean. If we could, I would follow you. Okay? Know that. But there's no way we can get down there. We need to think of a different plan. Taking out a half-destroyed ship to be eaten like that other one that came into the harbor, it's a fool's errand. There's no way we can get them, even if we went out on this thing. We need to find out more. We need more research. Is their ship here?
Right, we can't use this ship. And Manaya's gonna look to the tree line and sort of half run, half like trudge her way over there and just start picking a bunch of leaves. Just like stuffing them in her pockets and her coat and like grasping as many as she can. And as soon as she has like a decent handful, she whips around and says, "Okay, I need fire. If we can't do this with a regular ship, we need magic." And the Princess of Leaves, she could do something. She knows where they are.
Okay, while all of this is happening, Dewey, what do you do?
Dewey's like doing the things that Manaya asked him to do, collecting parts, bringing them to her, kind of half-heartedly. But he's also keeping an eye. He's like looking at these ships for obvious signs of like what caused them to break down.
Okay, right. Like I said last session, just one look at these ships, you know that it's probably like natural causes of the death of a ship, like running afoul of a storm, or like accidentally, like their hull seems like several of them have like broken, shattered hulls. Probably they ran aground in some way. There's no clear evidence of foul play for any of these ships.
Okay. Dewey's going to walk over to Manaya, hand her like a lit match or something. Try and take the axe out of her hands, and he's going to continue like where she left off with the repairing the ship.
Thanks. If this doesn't work, then we have no choice.
No choice.
We'll have to use the ship if this... No, it's going to work. And she dumps all of the leaves into a big pile and takes the match and is frantically trying to set it ablaze as a sort of offering to the Princess of Leaves. She'd previously only used one each and every night. But her theory is that more will have greater effect.
Okay, the pile of leaves begins to burn. It's swampy though, so it takes you a couple of matches, I think a couple of tries for the spark to catch. And when it does, the fire peters out pretty quickly.
As soon as the fire starts catching, Manaya falls to the ground, closes her eyes, takes a shaky breath, and says, "Princess, I know you're there. You know where my parents are. I need your help. Please."
As Manaya says this prayer, Oka, Dewey, what did the two of you do?
Oka is kind of standing askance, watching. I think they're just watching for now.
Mm-hmm. Dewey's like paused his hammering just to kind of see if this works.
As soon as Manaya shifts from common to Han, for a little bit, and then switches to a song her mother taught her when she was very small. She didn't realize it was Jukan until she actually went there, but is shakily singing a Jukan lullaby.
Yeah, Manaya, as you're on your knees, like singing this lullaby with a shaky voice, you hear in your head and you feel like this warmth, sort of, if a feeling could be a color, it would be golden, sort of like winding its way up your chest, through your sternum, like little veins, tendrils spreading like the roots of a tree coming up. And as this happens, Oka and Dewey, the two of you see veins of gold begin to like spread up, like the exposed part of like Manaya's throat, like going all the way up to her like closed white eyes. And you hear a voice begin to spread up from your chest as well. Like you're drinking a nice hot cup of tea on a very cold winter's day. And the voice is a recognizable one. It is the Princess of Leaves. And she sounds so small. She sounds very, very, very small inside of you, Manaya. Tired almost. And her voice is singing the lullaby along with you. You finish the last verse together, and then you hear her voice like a sleepy or a tired child in your head go, "Naya, we're here, aren't we? The court."
Princess, they're close. Please, I need to get to them.
I can taste the leaves you've burnt for me, Manaya. I can't stay here for too long. It takes so much energy to talk to you. Something is so wrong with Andake. The magic is dying. Manaya, you have to listen to me. Wherever you are right now, that is not where your parents are. They're close, but not that close. They're in the water.
Which direction?
In the water somewhere. I don't know exactly, but now that I'm here, now that you're holding me, my memories, they're coming back to me. Manaya, there's something attacked us. Something threw us overboard. It took all of our magics to just stay alive in the water. This thing, I think, is still here. It's still hunting. It would know where your parents are.
Thank you, Princess.
You're welcome, my child. I have to go back to sleep, but Manaya, you have me in you now. Use my magic, please, to protect you, to find
No,
them.
how?
Your heart does. And with that, Oka and Dewey, you see the veins sort of like recede back down Manaya's like brown skin and disappear under the collar of her trench coat.
Manaya's face is wet as she very quickly gets up, maybe stumbles a little in the mud, walks around the pile of burnt leaves, maybe a little roughly takes her axe away from Dewey, and makes her way to the exposed mast of the ocean's thread.
I think Oka just kind of stands beside Dewey and watches.
Manaya, what do you do?
How high up is the top of the mast with the conga on it?
Pretty high up. It would probably, let's say, I don't really know that much about ships. I don't know how big or long masts tend to be. Let's say
if it's an Uhànahi style, how much of the mast is above, like
let's say
percentage-wise?
10 feet, maybe? 10 feet of it
Okay.
is up? Yeah.
Yeah. An Uhànahi style ship that large would have a pretty tall mast.
Like what, like 20 feet? 30 feet?
Connie, masts are really big.
40
We're
feet?
talking 40, 50, yeah.
Height of mast ship. I'm looking it up. Oh my god! The main
Yeah.
mast of the Sorlandit measures 34.2 in height, or about 111 feet. Holy fuck. Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Then this
Yeah, they're really big.
If it's ocean bound, it's not going to be as big as like that. I'm sort of basing Uhànahi style ships on kind of Viking ships where it has the mast and then it has a yardarm, which comes from the aft and goes to the top of the mast and sort of holds the whole sail up in like a big triangle shape. Yeah.
Okay, my god, then it would make more sense for multiple parts of this ship to be sticking out, not just the top of the mast, unless the pond is really freaking deep. Okay, then
Well,
in
it's
that
been
case,
7 years.
it's been
so-
7 years, so it's probably sunk and broken off a bit. Okay, so you see, let's say, the top 30 feet of this mast sticking out with the conga up top. And it's hard to tell what is the ocean's thread and what is other, like, Frankenstein together bits of dead ship in this water. What do you do?
She looks at her axe. Fuck. Briefly considers cutting it down, then shakes her head and says no, and thinks, no, I won't disrespect my parents' ship like that. She turns around and says, Oka, I need your wings.
My wings. What about his wings? Might
ones
hurt
that-
more.
Yeah, the ones that don't cause me damage to use. And Jay flutters over to Manaya, kind of confused.
You know what? Never mind. Manaya pulls out some of the cloth that Dewey's brought to her, and remember in Mulan when she like climbs the pole using the she tries to do that.
All right, Manaya, you get down to business to retrieve the conga. You lasso your way up the mast quite easily, given your, history.
No check.
No check. I'm gonna change how I run things a little bit more here. I'm not gonna make you make checks for things that your character would probably succeed at. But instead I will be doing checks more like how I asked Erica, for collateral damage you might be causing or consequences of your actions. I think that's how I'm gonna be running D&D from now on more closely too. So similar, more and more fiction based. So Manaya, you managed to garrison your way all the way up to the top of the mast where the conga is lashed. And as you get up there, you see it's kind of dusty and it's got some like spores on it, from like trees, over the years. There's like cobwebs lashed to it. It looks a little like tattered as well from like the elements, like it's been rained on 1,000 times and then dried out and rained on again another 1,000 times. There's like mud and dirt on it. And as you get to the top, you peek over the tree line. You smell smoke. and your nose guides you back to the north shore of green open water, where you see smoke rising from where you left V and Rev. And on that, we sort of zoom in to the smoke, and we zoom into where V is standing with Rev next to her. V, you just heard this like amalgamation of like a half a dozen different voices, all like fighting for your attention, and also like they seem to be going now to like the south shore. They seem to be like attracted to this new burnt ship that you saw like sail into the harbor. What do you do?
My Rev, I don't know if you saw that. Did you see that there's a creature with many heads? They were all talking to each other, like their thoughts that were connected. They were thinking to each other. I
didn't hear anything, but I saw something. I thought maybe it was a trick of the light. We gotta put out this fire.
I start like just casting Ray of Frost and stuff over, and it's a cantrip, so I'm just like pointing at the base of fires, and but this creature said they're going to the south shore. We should grab our friends and go. This might be what's going on around here. This is why everyone seems to be gone and missing.
You heard it in your head, and they were heading. Why?
They were looking for food. They looked at us and they thought we were inedible. I guess, we must not look very delicious to them. But they said that there was more food to be eaten in the South Shore, and they were heading that way. So I feel like we should, if we're going to stop whatever this thing is, we should get our friends and go back there.
Okay, yeah. As you're casting like Ray of Frost, it's sort of like there's like a hiss of steam and mist as like the frost collides, with the fire, but it is not really doing a good job putting out the fire. It's sort of like throwing ice cubes at like a raging house fire, which is exactly what you've done. You cast Fireball and you want to put it out with a cantrip, no dice. It's just sort of hissing, sort of like very like Frozen,
like a Visco girl.
Yeah, like fuck you, Devin. Yeah, exactly like that. See, do you want
apologies.
Bobo in? Sorry, our cat. Oh, sure. I let the DM step away and take care of this. I see how it is.
I have a topic. We'll chat. No worries.
I'm wearing pajama pants.
That is only one person's
Our disgusting, horrible, misogynist cat demands attention. Fuck you, Bobo. You interrupt our D&D session, I bap you. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So Rev looks at you, V, and says, I'll go grab them. Just take care of the fire, okay? Don't let it spread. I don't have any magic that could put it out.
All right. I guess I should look for other ways to maybe. Is there any water around? Any?
Yeah, the Black Tongue's right behind you. The river. As Rev heads like through the fire, heading toward the ship graveyard, and then you hear a bang as like a door opens by like the dock house, and Miss Weaveshifter, this soft-shelled turtle, comes out, like leaning on her cane. She goes, "What the hell do you think you're doing?" As Rev disappears through the flames. What do you do, V?
Through the fire and flames.
We can talk about what I do later. For now, let's put out fire. And V's gonna like run. Is there? I want to look around for like any buckets or anything. Or
yeah, you see a couple of like wooden buckets, maybe the size of your head, like just sitting by the dock.
I'm gonna I'm gonna grab like 2 of them, and then also cast Mage Hand to like grab a third pail. And,
finally, Mage Hand actually comes in handy. Okay.
What do you mean? It's been very helpful this whole campaign. All right, don't come at my Mage Hand. My Mage Hand will come at you. Yeah. So I'm just gonna start putting out fires, and hopefully, my friend the turtle will come and help.
Your friend the turtle, Miss Weaveshifter, hobbles also over to the Black Tongue. And together, the two of you like try splashing it with like river water, and you manage to like halfway put out one, but the fire continues to spread down all these empty houses. And she's going, "No, we can't let them burn. What have you done?"
Look, let's not make this about what I've done. I want you to know that there is a very dangerous creature in this town with many heads that is looking to devour things, and it's probably the reason that you are all alone in this town.
She splashes a bucket of water on you. And the splash like wipes away some of the mud on your body and your clothes, and her flipper's like shaking a bit. She goes, "You sound unhinged." And her eyes travel down to the chrysalis symbol that has been unveiled by that splash of water she splashed onto your robe. I knew it! I knew there was something wrong with your group! I knew there was something wrong with you! You're part of that cult, aren't ya? That chrysalis cult! And she spits at you.
If you're going to spit on the fire, please.
You did this on purpose. Didn't you? I know all about you. You try to make communities weak just so you can sweep in and preach your twisted gospel. Well, I'm not gonna buy it. You get out of here. You get out of our town, and you never come back.
First off, friend, I took this from the chrysalis because one of their, people like literally just got destroyed because of me. Okay, I'm here to dismantle chrysalis.
So you wear their emblems? So
yes,
you dress up, you costume in the very symbols that they try to use to suppress, to infiltrate us and weaken us?
What better way to defy your enemies than to steal their clothing and dance? And V starts dancing.
Okay, there's a mini explosion as you dance, like as another house catches on fire. And on that, let's cut back to the ship graveyard. Manaya, as soon as you smell the smoke, and you see it burning, all three of you, Manaya, Oka, and Dewey, hear a hey, we need to get out of here. As Rev breaks through the tree line, like huffing it.
What did I just tell you? Where's V? You left her alone?
V is dealing with a fire she accidentally set while trying to fight off an unseen assailant, some sort of monstrous creature with like 7 heads that can disappear and reappear at will, and now it's headed to the south shore. We have to get there before it hurts the people there.
And you left her with the fire and the monster?
Well, I had to get to you.
Manaya takes the conga off of the top of the mast and jumps down, lands with a loud thud, and with the most stoic face you've ever seen her have, turns to the Oka specifically and says, "There's a monster in the town. We will get information out of it, and we will kill it. Let's go." And she starts
we hear like the Avengers theme song.
Oh my god.
It's like Manaya lands, like very Tony Stark, like a explosion of mud.
Oka, kind of just like looking at Rev, then looking at Manaya, watching her go, and then they just kind of like take a quick swig of the whiskey, throw it to the side, and follow after. But they smack Rev like on the shoulder.
Okay,
fucking idiot.
It's like hitting a brick shithouse. Your hand just like bounces off of it, and you like break a few fingers. Just kidding. But it's like she's like very solid. She looks down at you and says, "Whoa, we have to go." As your whiskey bottle bounces off of the back of a mud crab and shatters. I don't know. I'm just trying to paint a picture here of wildlife, flora, and fauna. Let's say. Okay, so Dewey, Manaya, and Oka, do the three of you sort of accompany Rev as you jog back toward the smoke? Okay, and you're jogging back, and you begin to enter this like opaque fog of smoke, rolling like into the swamp, and you smell like burning wood and like burning like a fire, like raging for sure, and you can see and you can feel the heat now, like the court, even though it's like the height of summer right now, has always been very cold because of its northerly climate, but here it's getting hot. And like you begin to sweat a little bit even, and it begins you start to cough a bit. It gets harder to breathe here with all the smoke. And before our two worlds collide again, Miss Weaveshifter is looking up at you. She's like leaning on her cane. She's gripping her cane almost like she would a cudgel. like about to beat you. But she's like really old. You could probably like looking at her, you could probably dismantle her in like one spell if you wanted to. But she looks like there's like tears brimming in her eyes as like the flames, like as you're dancing in front of her, and like the flames like roil on behind you. She goes, "Why? I don't understand. Why would you do this? Why would you do this to us? What have we ever done to you?"
I'm telling you, friend, there is a gigantic creature in your village.
Stop lying! There's no creature in our village! It's always just been me and Trad. We've always been alone. There's nothing here.
Friend, this town used to have so much more. If there was just two of you, why are there so many houses burning down right now?
There is storage. We use them to store things. But
No,
at that,
these
you can see her face like shuddering a little. Like she's like she looks starting to look confused. Like she's never asked herself that question before, really.
Yes, I've been in these houses. There's people they're in your logbook. They used to live in these houses. They've got names. They're on the houses. People used to live in them. You can go inside of them and see.
V, do you remember one of the names that Rev shared with you? Can you drop it right now? This is why you should take notes. Oh, I should take notes.
There were so many of them. There were so many of them.
So many opportunities for you to write something down. You should take notes for this moment in time. This is like the DM song of like.
Wait,
does anyone?
I still have the logbook. I'm just gonna open it. Read.
Okay.
You can't read.
You can't.
I can't read it, but I know that this person can, so I'm just gonna open it up and show the logs.
I just see my name. I don't. What are you trying to show me? I don't. And you can see like she's like very like consciously like looking away from the logbook as you're like shoving it in her face. V, can you remember any of the names Rev told you?
No.
Okay. Do you think V would, or has Erica just forgotten?
Erica has forgotten.
You think V would remember?
At least one of the person that we went to the house, I would have remembered that one. Yeah.
Wonderful. Harvest.
And it just happened.
Yeah, but I'm also got a little bit of a mind trip. But V would have remembered easily what the house that we went to.
Okay, V. So let's say the name you remember is Harvest, and let's say maybe like for like the point of like the cinematic like scene, you're also pointing at that particular line that Rev showed you, Harvest, maybe on the logbook. Do you say this person's name?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is Harvest right here.
I've never heard of a Harvest in my life. But she is crying. Like tears are streaming down her like leathery, like worn face. And her hands are like shaking. Like her knuckles are white, like against like her cane that she's holding onto for support. She's like quivering a little and backing away slowly from you. I've never and she drops the cane and like falls down into the mud.
He's gonna go down and just like make sure she's okay.
Miss Weaveshifter is like trembling as you look down at her. She's like, "Don't! What have you done to me? What is this? Why does my heart feel like it's breaking?"
I'm helping you remember, friend. They used to live right there, and I'll point at the house I went into.
That is the first house that went on fire, I think. It is like burning, it is ablaze, it is consumed by a halo of heat. And at that point, coming out of this shimmering halo, we see 4 figures. Oka, Dewey, Manaya, and Rev rush out of the fire. What do the 3 of you do? You see the scene in front of you. What is your reaction?
V, what in all great eight's fucking name?
V just screams, "Can we stop talking about what I did and what I was trying to do, which is stop this giant monster with several heads that is obviously hiding in this town?"
What monster?
I've never seen it before. It had many heads. They were all talking through thoughts to each other. I could hear thoughts because I just happened to cast Detect Thoughts, and I could hear it. There were 7, 8 heads all connected to each other, and it's going to the south shore right now to that boat that came in that was all beaten up.
Manaya slightly loudly says, "It knows where my parents are. We're going to get this information, and then we're going to kill it. Let's go, V. And Manaya goes to grab Bree's arm and bring her with her.
V, do you let Manaya grab you?
Yeah, I'll let that happen, but I will look back and be like, do we take care of burning the down houses right now, or do we just go?
The four of you go. I'll stay behind and take care of the fire, says Rev. Go! Go! People are in danger. Go now!
Manaya's already booking it.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll follow them.
As we're running, did anything that V say make a perhaps a hunter's bane dinger go off in Oka's head?
Yeah, roll it, baby! Roll it, roll it, roll it, roll it. You dropped it! It's a 16. I love this Hunter's Bane math. You get advantage, right, on information checks, intelligence checks to recall information about monsters. 17. Okay, with a 17, this description of multiple heads, like multiple necks, feels like a hydra to you, which is like a multi-headed monster. That's like the first thing that comes to your mind, especially the description of like a long neck. If V were to include that. But V, did you also, describe this monster as having like human-like faces? Like very like grotesque, like people faces? Do you basically describe everything I described to Oka?
Yeah, I mean, I would have said the details, yeah.
Shouting back and forth and running.
Yeah, okay, let's say this is taking place as the four of you are like huffing it toward like the big bridge, or are you going for Moss Crawler and trying to like row your way across?
Bridge.
So, bridge.
Okay, sounds good. The bridge. As you're huffing it along the shore, like your boots are like kicking up mud. You can see that like kind of like the fucked up boat like on the far end of the Black Tongue has been docked. You can see a little bit of activity, but you're too far away. You're on the way other side of the river to be able to like pick out details or specifics. But you do see a couple of people beginning to come to the shore, and you can see them like pointing at like the fire. Presumably they've seen like the smoke come up, even from their far distance. And as you continue to hoof it, yeah, Oka, this description sounds similar to like a hydra, but this idea of like human-like faces is nothing you've ever heard of before. Hydras are, leading monsterologists say that they are far descendants from dragons, and because of that, they have sort of serpentine or like lizard-like faces. So this description doesn't, ring a bell. This idea of like something that can communicate telepathically makes you think of like psionic like creatures. Like the first thing that comes to your mind is that of the mind flayer, which is sort of like a creature that dwells in like dungeons and caves, like underground. You've thankfully never come across one, but they're said to have like near like humanoid intelligence. But they have a sort of like alien way of like thinking, like almost like they're like fungi. They're closer related to fungi or like spores or jellyfish than they are to like people, really. Mind flayers here in this universe. But they also have like psionic abilities, the ability to communicate telepathically. So that's what it's making you think of. And this ability to like turn invisible, like in and out of will, it reminds you of many monsters who can do that. In fact, this monster seems to incorporate aspects of different monsters you've studied, but none of them come together to paint a picture in your head, which means it's extremely likely this is some sort of beast that was spawned by the cataclysm.
Fucking piece of shit, empty munches. You're sure it didn't have serpentine face? They were human faces. You're certain?
V, what do you say?
I know what I saw and what I experienced. It was only a brief moment, but it wasn't anything I'd ever seen before.
Okay. Manaya, you want to ask it questions?
It knows where my parents are. We're going
Fine.
to get that information, and we're going to kill it. You're the monster hunter. I'm relying on you.
I have your back. Won't let you down.
Okay, and with that, the four of you reach the north end of the bridge. That bridges the gap between the north and the south shore here at Green Open Water. And as you begin, it's a wide kind of like wooden bridge with like metal struts. And you can see like the pistons, like the gas or like the steam powered pistons that allow it to like open and close as large ships come in and out of the harbor. That sort of like support it at either end of the shore. And as your feet begin to like tap over, like it's maybe like 20 feet wide. Like this bridge is pretty wide. As your feet begin to like, tap over the metal and wood like sheeting, the flooring of this bridge, you see a couple people on the other end. They also seem to be running toward you with like buckets. You see like several of them like holding hoses. You know, like they seem to have seen the fire and are like coming over to like help. You know, maybe like a squadron, a group of actually only like 3 people, but they're weighed down by a lot of stuff. And I think the 4 of you, the 7 of you in total, I think, meet in the middle. And there's a brief pause. You see, they all look like maybe they're also like native to the court. You see they're dressed in sort of like the very like work people's like leathers of like dock hands, you know, and one of them has like a little like hat on that has like a word engraven speech across the front that you don't really recognize. But Manaya, you would recognize this as like the hat of a captain, or like a dock master or a harbor master. And this person's like holding a very heavy like cloth hose. And they pause, and this person who's like a human man goes, is there a fire on the other on the North Shore? How dude, we're going over. Do they have it handled?
They could use any help they can get. It's pretty bad.
God, our Miss Weave Shifter Trout, are they okay?
You should get over there. And I keep running.
Understood. And he starts hoofing it. Do the rest of you have anything to say to these dock people turned firefighters impromptu before you pass?
Manaya is not stopping, and if they're in the way, she's shouldering past them.
Sounds good. You eventually make it like running, like sweat still from like the greasy, like the fire, like clinging, like you smell like smoke. It's still clinging to your clothes and your feathers, Dewey, and your hair, Oka, and your hair, Manaya, and your chrysalis robes, V. And when you finally reach the South Shore, you are right by, it sort of like, it looks like a mirror image of the North Shore, like the harbor, building is like on the same side, so they sort of look like mirror reflected images of each other. And all of you see like that huge boat now, like closer up in detail. It's just docked maybe like 30 feet away from you, and you see like half of it is like charred and burned. Looked like maybe like a huge lightning bolt hit it or something. And it also looks like kind of scruffed up. But this close now, as the 4 of you settle in front of the harbor building and you look at this boat, all 4 of you. Well, actually, specifically, Manaya, you would recognize this boat as kind of built in a Uhànahi style, but a rather progressive Uhànahi style. You actually even see like the hole that's sort of been blasted or zapped or something to the side of the hull reveals sort of like an engine room area, which is very new to you. That seems to have some sort of like a metal, like a steel and like glass contraption. You know, and you also see like rudders. At first you think they're rudders, but then you see that they're sort of like big turning, almost like this is almost like a part sail, part steamboat sort of situation going on here. And Dewey, you would also recognize these technological add-ons. And as you like finally come to the other side of this boat, the unscorched side, you see the name of the boat like emblazoned on the side in common. And it reads Mahu's Favor. And several people are standing by the boat, talking with one person, one Raven's Court denizen. There are 7 people standing in front. Actually, there are 12. Yeah, there are 12 people. They seem to have been on the boat based on how they're dressed. They do not look like they're from the court. And one of them is talking to this one representative that's been left behind from the court. And 5 of these 12 people are dressed very differently. So 7 of these 12 people are dressed like sailors. You know, like Uhànahi sailors. They've got like the tan skin, like the brown skin, like some tattoos that indicate that they're native to the kingdom of Uhànahi. They're talking amongst each other, and Manaya, you recognize your own language, which is they're talking to each other in like the flowing ebbs and waves of Uhànahi. And the other 5, one of whom is talking, seems to be the leader maybe, is talking to this representative of the court. The other 5 are dressed sort of in like, I don't know, the only way I can describe them really is like researchers' robes. like one of them has like a white lab coat on, and they've all got like names like stitched onto their breast, and they also all have like a logo sort of emblazoned on their other breast, a logo that is very familiar to you, Dewey, because these 5 people are researchers from the Uhànahi Research Laboratory, which is your ex-employer that has currently sent a dog-headed demon to kill you. And on that, we are going to go to break.
That was quick. Dang.
Yeah, we're gonna go to
Feel like
break.
an
This
hour.
episode is
Well done.
flying.
We are gonna be back in 10 minutes. 10 minutes? So enjoy the music, enjoy the fan art reel, enjoy Max's panicked face. We will see you in 10. We love you all so much. We'll be right back.
I learned this from a witch who was born of many gender. I learned to see a light. I learned to watch it glitter. I learned a secret from the light. I learned to watch it dancing. I learned to swallow light to illuminate my darkness. I learned to feel love when I look upon my dark things. I learned this from a witch who was born of many gender. I learned to see a light. I learned to watch it glitter. I learned a secret from the light. I learned to watch it dancing. I learned to swallow light to illuminate my darkness. I learned to feel love when I look upon my dark things. I learned this from a witch who was born of many gender. I learned to see a light. I learned to watch it glitter. I learned a secret from the light. I learned to watch it dance.
Blood.
Take me out my body. Diamond master, lay me in my glamour tomb. If that should take me, still be VIP. Take my body one more time. My last breath can be yours to keep. Yours to keep. Yours to keep. Diamond master, lay me in my glamour tomb. If that should take me, still be VIP. Take my body one more time. My last breath can be yours to keep. Yours to keep. Yours to keep.
Hello, 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 everybody. It is so great to see all of your beautiful non-existent faces yet again in the chat. We are coming back with part 2 of Arc 2, Episode 7, Truth, Murder Us All. As a reminder, some content warnings for this campaign and episode include addiction, memory loss, fantasy violence, death of loved ones, emotional trauma and baggage, self-destructive behavior, bloodletting, cults and cult-like behavior, anxiety and panic attacks described in detail, poverty and classism, a refugee crisis, natural disasters, and economic injustice. So, with that out of the way, let's get back into it. Dewey, as your eyes land on these 5 familiar looking people, it's not necessarily their faces that are familiar to you, but rather their uniforms, right? And as your eyes land on them, we sort of like zoom in on your eyes, on your like yellow, your like golden, like scleras, on your black pupils. And then we enter a memory of yours, because we did reach our 25 sub goal earlier today. I had to reset the counter, and guess who I rolled? I rolled Dewey. How serendipitous. So Dewey, this is a familiar night to you. One I think that you've dreamed of several times, if not many times, since it's happened. It is the night your partner brought home your child. So Dewey, the only thing that needs to happen is that it's raining. Where are you in your home when this happens?
I'm in the basement workshop.
Okay. What does it look
yeah.
like?
It's a little bit dark. It's a little bit musty. There's a couple of tables strewn about, and there's different projects on each one. And the stairs go like around the corner and up to the first floor.
Okay, sounds good. Is there like a latch that like closes? Is there like a basement like hatch that like closes over?
Yeah,
it?
I think so.
So like the noise
think
doesn't disturb your partner when you're like
Yeah.
working down there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. What are you working on?
Hmm.
Christian goggles.
What?
Night vision goggles.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Working on like glasses of all sorts, like that enhance different parts of your vision.
Sure. Okay, you little myopic bird. You're bent over your workbench. Do you have like a heat shield on to like prevent you from sparks as maybe you're like cutting a piece of like metal to fit to your latest invention?
Yeah, try not to get like glass shards in my eye.
Sure, it's like like classic like metalworking situation. We don't see Dewey's face behind this like shield that's sort of like contoured to fit his beak, as he's like at like a piece of metal to like fit to this new like goggle or glasses that you're trying to make. All around us, we hear sort of like rain pounding on tin. Rain pounds against a tin roof. As you know, this is the house, this is the home that you've called home for many years now, ever since you've met your partner. And we are, all around us, even though let's say it's late autumn, you're sweltering a little bit in your basement from all the heat, and you hear upstairs like the telltale sound of the front door closing, as your partner returns home, and then you hear her voice go, Dewey. And she sounds very excited. Dewey, are you in your workshop?
Yeah, I'll be up in a minute. I'm just finishing something.
Could you come up here now, honey? I have something I want to show you. I found something.
Okay. I literally have sparks in my hand. Give me like 2 minutes.
2 minutes? Really? Really, Cardew?
Okay, like
Cardew Quirk. Your
like
wife,
95 seconds.
Your wife is asking you to come up here after a long, hard day of work, and the pot roast is almost done. Can you please just come up here, honey? I don't want to go down there. I don't want to hurt her with all your sparks.
Dewey's just like flipping up his mask, like taking off gloves and trudging upstairs as she's going on this little tangent.
Okay, maybe are you like a little grease stained? Do you look a little like work weathered? Yeah, okay. You come up, you throw open the hatch. And you are greeted by the feet of your wife. And you look up and you see her because she's standing up above you and she's holding. So tell me, Uhànahi, what does she look like? Your wife, your partner.
She is sort of Dewey's height, a little bit taller, obviously. She's a human woman. She's got like a long braid. I don't know. She's got a very like soft face, and one that's like very friendly looking, very welcoming. And that's kind of what drew Dewey to her in the first place.
As you look up into her face, her entire body's a little wet from the rain outside, and she had just come home from work. Where does she work? What does she do?
She's a carpenter. So I think she does a lot of like contract work, doing like making houses and fences, and working outdoors.
Okay. So because of that, you see like a few like stray like wood chips like in her hair that are like stuck in there.
Sawdust.
Yeah, sawdust, exactly. So both of you are sort of like very good with working with your hands. And as your eyes travel down to what she's holding, like against her chest, you see like a bundle of like rags, maybe? Like kind of like a little dirty, like rags you recognize like from her like workshop. Like she's like swaddling something against her chest. But you don't see what it is really.
Did you make something and did you bring something home from work again?
And she's just smiling so hard. Like her entire face is a little flushed. She looks like a little red. She looks very excited. And you also detect a little bit of nervousness in her expression. Dewey, love,
did you finish that hatch you were working on? I know you were having trouble. Can I see it?
Did you say hatchet or hat?
Hatch.
Okay. This isn't exactly a hatch. Honey, you might want to sit down for this. Here, why don't I get you some pot roast? And she starts like sidling over to the kitchen table. with this thing still in her chest, against her chest. And as she turns away, you hear a little, like coming from the bundle.
What? Did you bring home like a kitten? The one that was from the pregnant cat around your workshop?
Oh, no. Spotty got adopted by the neighbors. This is let's sit down for this, Cardew. Let's as she like sits down and gestures at like a place that's been set for you already with a bowl of a plate of pot roast.
Dewey starts eating. He probably hasn't eaten in over 6 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
Got caught up. Yeah.
She watches you eat, and then she goes, "Well, you know how for the longest time, I've been trying to talk to you about having children, but you were like you want to focus on your career and like on our work."
Yeah, we should find a time to, talk more about that. I'm tired tonight though, so.
Well, you kept saying, like, let's just wait for a sign. Let's just wait for a sign that, we should have a kid. And ta-da! And she reveals the bundle in her arms, which is a baby, like a child, like an infant. And you see like its little face peeking through a hole in all the fabrics. And what do you see when you look at it? What is it? This child. What do they look like?
They've got short dark hair that's kind of like plastered to their forehead because of the rain, and also because they've been swaddled. And they've got just like the biggest eyes Dewey's ever seen on a humanoid child.
Yep. She goes, I found them. Someone just left them, floating in a basket, by the 5th channel. And I tried knocking around on neighbors' doors. I even went, but this didn't, obviously someone just left them there. And I didn't want to drop them off by the orphanage. I mean, they've got so many kids on their hands now. Did you hear about, oh goodness, that poor child lost her parents to that horrible shipwreck? They've got their hands full with children like that. And I didn't want this child to grow up without, a family.
And you want to keep it?
I do. Cardew, Is that a problem? Come on, like they could be your little assistant. You could like teach them how to build things. Pass on your knowledge to someone. You're always talking about how it'd be nice to have some work, some help down there in your workshop.
I haven't thought about kids though.
I know, Cardew. I know you don't really think about kids that much, but this is something I really want. And yeah, maybe this was selfish of me, but I mean, like, what are we doing, Cardew? Like, where is this going?
I like our partnership, what we have now.
I want kids.
If this is what you want, if this makes you happy, we can keep him.
Just try holding them. And Uhànahi holds out the little bundle to you, basically like forces you to like hold them like against your feather chest. Come on. It's not a bomb, Dewey.
Okay. They're just so fragile. And he takes the baby.
I thought maybe you could name them. What do you think would be a good name? And Dewey, you say the name of your child, which is?
Max, did you forget?
I didn't. No, I didn't. Okay. Hana.
Hana. And on that, we zoom out of like Dewey's face as you're standing there. Maybe like you were like jerked into this memory, right? By seeing these reminders of your past, of where like you're from, your workplace. Oka, Manaya, and V, the three of you notice that Dewey has just sort of like frozen there upon seeing these people. What do the three of you do?
Does Oka recognize the symbol on their shirts at all? I don't know. I actually don't know if they would.
I don't think you would. You would though, Manaya, as being a native of Uhànahi.
Manaya stops, turns, and goes to Dewey and says, "Let's go. Aren't you getting away from them?"
Towards them?
Aren't you running away from them? Let's go.
Go over there where they are? I'm gonna go help with the fire.
So you're gonna turn around and you're gonna start backing away, Dewey?
Yeah. Taking shorts, trying to be unnoticeable.
Okay.
Short steps backwards.
Yeah, Dewey starts backing away. Oka, V, what do you do?
Maybe I think it would be funny if Oka was like behind Dewey and he backs up into them.
Yeah.
And they just kind of put like a hand on his shoulder. Just, you're not. Do you really want to get eaten by a fucked up hydra flayer? Is what I'm calling it.
You don't know. There are worse fates.
Oka, like, still with like one shoulder, like one hand on Dewey's shoulder, kind of like just moves around and stands in front of him.
Yeah, he's like,
And then the people there don't seem to be attacked currently.
No, they seem to be well, the seven sailors, let's say, are just sort of hanging out. They're hanging behind, they're talking to each other, they're shooting the shit. You see one of them has like lit up like a hand rope cigarette and is smoking it and like passing it around. The five researchers, you see like several of them have like notebooks out. They're like writing in it and like looking around excitedly. And one of them is like standing in front of the one person left behind, the native to the court of Ravens, the one like dockhand, let's say, that's been left behind on the South Shore and is like trying to talk to them. The dockhand is this sort of like stout looking dwarven woman who's got like her hands like propped on her hips and looks a little annoyed at this one person who's talking very excitedly in what you recognize as like Raven speech, even though they don't seem to be from the court. And they're like talking, and this dwarven woman, you hear her go, "You know what? Let's just talk in common. It's fine. I can understand you." This person's like, "No. I need to brush up on my Raven speech anyway. It's been a while since I visited the court, and it's so good to see this place firsthand. I know all about the history. The four courts, how they were established. Your kings and your queens." And this woman goes, "Right. So anyway, we've got like one like spare house, I suppose, that's open, that we're not using for storage. I guess if all 12 of you could like squeeze in there for the night, and then you could pay us to help repair your ship. You could maybe rent a canoe or something, go into town, market, buy some food while you wait it out." So that's what you overhear. That's what you see, Oka.
A linguist after my own heart.
Oka turns to V, I think, and is like, Do you feel it? Is it here? You all ran to me in a panic and everything was on fire. I thought maybe something would be happening.
Well, they said that there was new, basically a meal to eat here. If these are the finest minds off this boat, perhaps it's, if I got closer and tried to detect thoughts, maybe I could detect this creature again.
Manaya walks over to V and intentionally towering over her and says, "You're going to do that. Let's go."
All right, and V starts heading over to the boat. I guess I'll just cast Detect Thoughts as we get close to the boat.
Okay, you stride forward toward where all of these people are, toward the boat. And you see again, like it's tall, like kind of proud, but now battered, like side of its hull with Mahu's favor sort of emblazoned over it. And yeah, as you get closer, you see like the logo of the URL stamped at the end of Mahu's favor. Like maybe this is like a URL ship. As you get closer, you cast Detect Thoughts, just like how you were using it earlier to detect the presence of like other sentient creatures.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and yeah, all of these people's like light up. All of them light up like pinpoints in your radius, like you were like a dock. Like a ship, like sensor, like ping, ping. You can sense all of them. You sense these 12 people, the one like dwarven woman, dock hand. You can also sense Oka, Dewey, Manaya, and yourself. You don't sense that strange cluster of 7 or 8 thoughts. But as you draw closer, one of the other researchers who maybe like who are like hanging back, like letting this one excitable linguist like take the lead with this dwarven woman. One of them turns to you. You see she's sort of like this like handsome half orc woman with very like long hair, sort of like braided all the way down like to her hip. And she's got little glasses on, like tiny little glasses on. And she turns to you. She says, and she turns to the woman, the linguist, and goes, sort of in common actually. She says, "Dr. Pelpone, how do you say hello in Raven speech again?" And Dr. Pelpone turns around and like says something that sort of sounds like a squawk. She goes, "Oh," she turns to you and she squawks. She like nods, like makes like an eager face, like.
Or we just speak common, friend, because I don't know what you just said to me.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought since you were here, I thought you were from the court.
We're not from the court. We are just visiting. We have reason to believe there is something very sinister in this area that we're looking for.
V, do you see it?
There's nothing here right now.
Then we keep going.
I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm sorry. Something sinister? Dr. Ting. And she turns, and you see like a human man, probably the most like grizzled human man you've ever seen, with like a kind of patchy beard. You know, he looks like maybe he's in his 40s or 50s. He's got like bags under his eyes. He looks like very like hungry. You know, he looks hungry. And like both in like a literal sense and also like an emotional sense. And he turns to you, and like his eyes are like lasers, like fixing on your face, V, and on all of you. Dewey, are you still like hiding behind Oka?
I'm behind Oka.
I think that maybe while they've been doing this, Oka was like, "Okay, hold on," and like took off their sash and is like like covering Dewey's head with it and like tying it around him like a cloak.
Okay, let's see how good that impromptu costume is. I need you to roll sleight of hand, Oka.
Dewey's he's got his hood up, and I figure it's like when you get something on your pants at school and you can't go home and change, so you just like tie something around your waist.
Yeah, considering I rolled a 7, I think Oka just kind of throws their sash on you and is like, "Okay, that's good. That's good. I don't know who you are at all." Actually, I think maybe to like cause more problems, because I like to cause problems, Oka like snatches Dewey's glasses off his face, be like, "Now I can't recognize you at all."
Dewey scrabbles for his glasses. Give those back.
They'll recognize you with them on, Dewey. Come on.
I don't.
Think smart.
This man, this grizzled human man, he seems to maybe be like their leader. And Dewey, you would recognize like that his URL like badge is kind of like dressed up. So he is like the leader of like this group. You know, he's like the head researcher. You would like recognize the emblem of that badge. He turns, this Dr. Ting, he turns to the 4 of you and says, "I'm sorry, excuse me. We're here, we're from Uhànahi. We're part of a research group there. We're here to research the profane undeath, as it is colloquially referred to here, though we, and like the half-orc woman like behind him just helpfully pipes up, "Anomaly 42?" And he goes, "Yes, Anomaly 42.
Yes, it's here. People don't die. We've seen it firsthand. Now, if excuse us, and then I start walking past them.
Excuse me, young woman. Could we interview you and your group? Clearly,
No.
you've had experience.
We're too busy going after Anomaly 49, so we've got things to do.
I'm sorry, Anomaly 49.
You don't know? Oh my god, you call yourselves researchers? You should go back on your boat and just think about things very hard.
Oh, hi, sorry, excuse me. And the handsome half-orc woman steps forward. She offers you a hand, V. She says, "I'm Dr. Sato. I'm the junior researcher here, but I cut my teeth on hardware, so." And Dewey, that is the same department that you were in. Do you shrink further away? You recognize her. Actually, I think she was basically you've never I think you've maybe had a conversation with her once, by the water cooler, and she is she has risen in the ranks. She was an intern when you first met her, and it's only been probably a few months, right, since you left the URL, and she's already has a research position. That's she's either got it through favors or just through hard work and diligence. But she worked in a different area of hardware than you. Well, as an intern, she was kind of a floater, so she didn't have an assigned area. But you recognize her face, and her hair has grown out a little bit more since you've seen her. And the glasses are new. The tiny glasses are new.
Dewey's just he's really bad with faces, and the fact that everyone dresses the same at the URL.
It doesn't help.
Yeah.
But she has a pretty memorable face. She has a very handsome face.
Oka took Dewey's glasses. He doesn't know shit
Oh,
about
that's.
her.
Yeah, actually, yeah, okay.
Are they? How far away are they?
They're coming right up on you now. She's coming forward. She has offered a hand to V. But I'm just gonna say, Dewey, you will recognize her, I think.
He recognizes her as soon as she's within
spitting distance.
Five, yeah.
Yep.
5 feet.
She doesn't seem to have noticed you at first. Her attention is trained on V. V, do you take the handshake?
Sure.
Okay, she shakes it. She's got a very firm grip. She looks. She actually double handshakes you. She clasps your hand with her other one. She shakes you. She says, "Hi, yes, and your name is?"
My name is Vineyard Winery.
That is not her best work.
What a unique name. Vineyard. Mind if I call you Vin?
Yeah, that sounds wonderful. I love a nickname.
Look, Vin, we're here to research, Anomaly 42, but we're also here, looking out for other anomalies. Maybe we can help you.
Do you have
Has been walking
to detect invisible creatures? Because there is a beast with several heads that we are chasing after right now.
At that, the other researchers look at each other and they murmur, to each other. You see a Dr. Ting jot something down in his moleskin field notebook. He's jotting it down with his quill. Dr. Sato goes, well, I'm actually the hardware specialist on board. I'm sure I could, re-rig our detector to be able to pick up on invisible signatures.
If you can do that very quickly, because this thing is in the area, and seeing you all here, I think this creature actually may be very interested in your minds.
If it lives, I can kill it, says one of the other researchers who hasn't spoken yet. And this one actually wears instead of a white lab coat, he's wearing a black one. And he's got hair sort of gelled back. He's got a very well-trimmed beard in opposition to Dr. Ting. And he's sort of leaned against a pole, with a hat drawn low over his face. He has his arms crossed. And you notice that he's the only one that's armed. He's got these two short swords strapped to his waist, as well as a long sword strapped against his back.
Yeah, we have that covered. No need to dirty your lab coat.
Yes, Mr. Kim, says Dr. Ting, we're also not here to kill anything, right? Your acquisitions and release, not kill and release. And Mr. Kim, the guy with the hat and the swords, he just shrugs to himself, and he doesn't say anything else. Dr. Sato says, well, I think there's a way both of us, we can mutually benefit here. Clearly the four of you have some stake in trying to contain this entity. Let's say we can help. That's literally, we specialize in that. We can help you.
Has Manaya maybe circled back kind of to where Oka and Dewey are, a little bit farther back from the group?
Yeah, as she walks forward, she looks around, realizes that she can't see where this thing is, and circled back and is standing behind, crossing her arms.
Oka kind of like leans in toward her and is like, that might actually be the best chance we have. I have no way to track it.
V's just gonna let the researchers. This creature made me forget things, made me forget where I was in just a matter of moments. So, if this thing attacks, we could all just be in a lot of trouble very quickly. So, if you're going to do something to help catch us, this creature, it needs to be sooner rather than later.
Dr. Ting, is nodding slowly, and then he turns to Mr. Kim and says, well, you're our resident creature expert here. What do you think? And Mr. Kim, he props up, the brim of his hat, and you see that he's got mismatched eyes. He's got, one silver eye, one golden eye. And he just sort of... Yes, Oka?
I'm sorry. I don't have to ask that question. I was going to ask if he was, a cis man or if he was hot, because those are different.
I just have to say that everyone here is trans unless otherwise stated. The only not cis person I think would be Adam in our campaign, and he's also the only canonically white person other than V, I think.
Okay, so he is hot, is what you're trying to say.
Oh yeah, he's got like trans guy on T for 10 years vibes, sort of going on. He's got that nice deep testosterone voice. And Mr. Kim just goes, any sort of invisible stalker isn't going to attack us in daylight unless it's really arrogant or really stupid. I don't think this creature is either. I think we should lay a trap. And Dr. Ting nods, turns back to you, V, and says, you say this thing can make us forget our memories? Well, let's just record logs every day and listen to them. That way we won't forget anything. And Dr. Sato says, yes, and I'll start rigging up that device. I like the idea of a trap. Maybe we can use someone as bait. Let's see, who here is kind of scrawny and looks easily digestible? And she's looking around, and Dewey, are you trying to hide? Are you trying to hide from the gaze?
Dewey's he's got an arm behind, I think Oka's back, and just grabbing into their back as hard as he can. Please don't let this happen.
I'll be bait.
No, V can see it.
I can't quite see it, but I can once or twice. I can try to detect thoughts.
I'll be bait, Manaya. It's better that way.
Fine.
Well, then, I suppose we should stick together, says Dr. Ting. This very tired man, he closes his journal and he says, it's going to be sundown. Well, I guess lack of sundown pretty soon. Excuse me, you said your name was Tiger? Turns to the dwarven woman who's just been watching this with an air of boredom this entire time. She goes, yeah, you can call me Tig. All right, Tiger. Do you mind showing us to that house that you said that we could stay at? And I'll be more than happy. Dr. Pelpone here will be more than happy to take care of the fees for our stay and, of course, the repairing of the ship. Yeah, okay. I could lead you there. Are these 4 gonna be joining you? Because that house ain't gonna take 16. I can tell you that. Dr. Ting turns to the 4 of you.
We'll find our own lodgings. We've done it before. We'll do it again.
Okay, very well. Maybe we should reconvene in the morning then, or perhaps we should have a late night meeting.
Okay, you're talking a lot about meetings and recordings and paper and bullshit. We're gonna do this as soon as possible, which means that we're setting the trap now, or we're leaving.
Dr. Sato, this half-orc woman goes, I need some time to build the detector to rig it out.
It's happening today.
Or you are going to wake up tomorrow with no understanding about how to rig your detector. Do you understand what we're saying to you right now?
Okay, well, fine. You, Vin, you said you can use magic, right? Wow.
Yes, I can. I can only maybe twice more unless I rest for a while.
Great. Okay, so let's conserve that. Dr. Ting, if I may, I do agree. I think maybe time here is of the essence. So you, our kind Bait. I'm sorry. What's your name again? Bait.
You can call me Bait.
Okay, Bait. Let's put you somewhere that looks isolated, but where we can easily hide. Maybe in that copse of trees beyond all those empty houses. And then the rest of us, maybe we can like hide maybe like 20, 30 feet away and wait for this thing to attack. And Vin, maybe every now and then you can cast that spell, cast that magic to try to see if this invisible thing is approaching. Dr. Ting, does that sound like a good course of action? What do the four of you think?
Manaya?
We're catching it today. Let's do this. Let's go.
Great. Sounds good. So you're about to head out when one of the Uhànahi sailors steps forward. He looks to be maybe the captain, kind of like a rugged-looking gnome man. He steps forward. He's got like a beard. He's got a big scruffy beard, and he goes, "Excuse me, Dr. Ting, should we be a part of this too, or can we chill here by the ship?"
Okay, a lot of you don't really seem to understand. What I'm trying to tell you is that if you just hang out here, your minds are going to be eaten. All right? This is a hydra flayer we're talking about, okay? This isn't some fucked up bullshit. Whatever.
Right. So this is no man. He doesn't seem to like grasp the gravity of the situation or the urgency. I mean, to his perspective, you're just a bunch of strangers who showed up. And it seems like maybe as he's looking at Dr. Ting, you can tell like that there's a little bit of tension between these two groups. You know, like there's the researchers and then there's the workers who like helped them get here. You know, and there seems to be like a divide between the two of them. And this captain, he just goes, you know what? I don't want my sailors to get wrapped up in any of this entity business. You know, we were contracted to bring you here and to bring you back. And that's it. None of this other bullshit. So, Tiger, was it? I think we're gonna hole up in that house. Maybe smoke, play cards.
You know, friend, if they are going into a house alone, I would almost suggest wherever a large group of people is, that is where Bait is.
He does not necessarily look convinced. How do the four of you try to convince this group of sailors who don't know you to try to like come along and potentially like to their perspective like risk their lives to like set up this whole bait thing?
I don't think we do. I think maybe V is... What I understood was that V was suggesting we use them as bait.
Oh, okay. Like, so to go to the house instead of into the woods?
Yeah, basically, my suggestion is, wherever the group of people are, that's where we should be. If they all go to a house, we go to the house. If they stay in the boat, we stay at the boat.
Okay. Dr. Ting seems to catch up on this, turns to this captain and says, Captain Akamu, it's all right. You can go to the house. You don't mind if we surround the house, you know, stay nearby just to keep an eye on you. Yeah, that's fine. Come on, sailors, let's roll out. And Captain Akamu and the rest of the Uhànahi sailors, like, they like flick the last of their cigarettes away, like into the water, and they begin to set off toward like the largest sort of like abandoned house structure here. It seems like it maybe actually was like a storage unit of some sort to like store boats or something before it became like kind of deserted and abandoned. They set off toward it. What did the four of you do?
Dysfunctional. It's a miracle they got here.
They kind of didn't. Listen, Oka's gonna try to like sidle away with the party. I don't, well, call it my base monster hunter instincts, but I don't really like working with a different monster hunter who wants to keep what I want to keep, personally. I call it the competitive side in me, right? I can get what you're looking for, Manaya. We can get it tonight, but let's not let them catch it.
We can't let them take it back to wherever they're taking it.
Do we still have friends? The Gem of True Sight, do we still?
Yeah, I've got that. And I hand it to V.
How many charges does it have left? One.
Just
okay.
one.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
How long does that last? Like, how long can I have it open to like look around and stuff?
I think I've written that it lasts like a round or like 1 minute or something.
Okay. So that's just one more option because I do have a limited amount of times I can cast this spell today.
Sure.
I've already cast it twice.
Definitely.
V, you're going to detect where it is. You're going to use the Gem of True Sight. You're going to point me to where I'm going to bash its heads in.
Sounds like a wonderful plan. Let's get it.
Sounds good. You're the four of you are done having a sidebar, and Dr. Ting says, "All right, well, my group's gonna set up a perimeter here. The four of you seem capable. Feel free to join any of us on the perimeter. Again, Mr. Kim, please remember we are not trying to kill the entity. We are simply trying to capture it. Okay?" Mr. Kim just sort of tips his hat but doesn't say anything. And you see like the 5 researchers begin to like scatter around like this. You see a couple of them begin to set up like inside nearby like houses that like surround like the storage unit, let's say. Another one of they all like seem to like pick a house. Let's say there's like a northwest house, there's a north east house, a southwest house, and a southeast house. And let's say the storage unit's in the center of these 4 houses. And they're like setting up a perimeter at each corner. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what's the play here? Are the 4 of you each gonna go to a different house, or are you gonna all go to the same one?
I get the feeling that splitting up might not be the best idea.
If we're
Also,
gonna do a counter mission, yeah.
Speaking of splitting up, we're missing one on the North Shore. We need to get Rav.
She's dealing with the fire. We don't need her. She'll be back.
Okay. Then.
If this thing is as I would prefer to have her here to deal with something of this scale. Also, to deal with the fact that the URL is involved now. I can go get her.
Do what you want.
Fly.
Flying like the wind.
No, I mean literally fly above the ground. Don't step down.
But once I'm out of eye shot, once I'm out of those people's view, I'll go. I'll fly.
Okay. Sounds good. So Dewey, are you heading away from the rest of your party? And once you're like out of sight, you're gonna take flight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you take flight into the air, and like the sea breeze sort of like ruffles against your feathers, and it feels nice to fly. I think it's been a while since you've flown, really. Like the breeze like ruffles through your feathers, and for a breeze, like you just feel free up there in the air. Literally, I mean, the phrase "free as a bird" is there for a reason, right? And you soar and you plane like over like the wandering Black Tongue River as the sunless sky gets darker and darker overhead, and you fly toward the last pillars of smoke on the North Shore. Meanwhile, Oka, Manaya, and V, what do you do?
Oka rolls a cigarette and I think this is, they don't, like do anything particularly, but they're like, they try to think juicy thoughts. Like about food. They're thinking about food, trying to be bait. That's what they're doing. They're rolling a cigarette and like obviously leaning somewhere thinking about food. That's their plan.
So you're leaning against the central building that the other sailors have gone into?
Yes, I am.
Okay, sounds good. What about you, Via Manaya? Where do you go, or do you stand by Oka?
I need to stay within 30 feet. That's the radius of detect thoughts. So I'm not necessarily like trying to hide, but I do think like just leaving. I'll probably go. So are we near the house where like the sailors went as well? So
Yes.
I think I would go somewhere like close to the house so I could kind of ping inside the house. And also like ping where around Oka.
Are you going to stay out in the open, or are you going to go into one of the 4 houses that form a corner around each of them?
I don't think I'm actually going to go into a house. I think I'll stay outside so I can visually still see things.
Where? Like where in relation to the central house?
Like wherever the front door is, I'll just go like around the corner a little bit.
So you're still going to stay by the front house, but like on the other end of the house to where Oka is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. So if Oka's on the bottom left corner, you'd go to the top right corner?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Manaya?
Manaya's going to follow V, and if she's staying by a house, Manaya's just going to stand and lean her back against the wall, crossing her arms.
Okay, so all 3 of you are staying by the central house, right? Okay, cool. Great. The other researchers go off, you see them like go off. There's 5 of them in total. You see like each of them goes alone to like one of the other like 4 houses that like form the perimeter around the central house. But 2 of them go to the let's say, actually the one researcher who stays behind, the odd man out is going to be Mr. Kim, and he's going to stay by where you are, Oka.
Yeah, I would actually like whistle for him to come over.
Yeah, I think he goes. Yeah, I think he just goes over to where you are, and you roll a cigarette, and he just goes, "Hey, can I bum a hit?"
Yep, you have a light.
He snaps his fingers, and a little flame sprouts out from his fingertips, and he lights it.
Despite what Oka said about being competitive, they are gonna like share some of the information. So they're gonna be like, our sorcerer, well, I don't know if you could tell just by being here, but there are a lot fewer people in this town than there should be. Something has been eating them. It's invisible, but apparently our sorcerer saw something with lots of heads, many thoughts, and human faces. So not a hydra, not quite a mind flayer either. I imagine it's a empty beast.
Is that what you call them? Empty beasts?
Well, yeah. They're empty. Well, they're sort of empty. Stupid little bags.
So you noticed that too?
Well, I am a Class A monster hunter. Of course I noticed it.
He gives you a once-over, and he says, the URL has use of talents like yours.
And I am not interested in being employed by the URL.
Well, perhaps I could convince you to reconsider.
How about this? Let's make a bet. Wager, what, 50 gold? 100? I catch it first.
And if I catch it first?
Then I'll consider joining your little entourage.
Fine. It's a deal. And he holds out a leathery hand for you to shake.
Oka shakes it.
And on that, Dewey, we follow you as you finally approach the other bank, right, of the North Shore, and you start gliding down like a pillar of heat. One of those that you can ride as a bird. And you see, the smoke is what's lingering from the fire, but the fire thankfully has been put out at this point. And you see like several people like by the shore. You see Rev among them. Like they're talking to each other. They seem to be like discussing like the fire, like what happened, like how did this occur, etc. And you see a familiar like teenage girl. You see Trout. Maybe you're like up in the air though. You see she is maybe like 40 or 50 feet away from the main group. And she is by the bank of the Black Tongue. She seems to be splashing herself with water. Like her clothes look a little singed. Like maybe she's like cooling down, like stepping away. And as you see her splashing herself with water, you see something suddenly like flicker into existence behind her. And up in the air, you see something that looks quite horrific. It is basically exactly what V described. 7 or 8 heads mounted on slender, long, pale necks that connects to like a monstrous body that's kind of scaled and has like multiple claws coming out. And this thing is large. It's much larger than Trout. And she doesn't seem to recognize that it's behind her. Her back is turned to it. She's crouched by the water. She's splashing herself with water. And this thing seems to rear up on its like hind claws, about to come down on her. What do you do?
I like he was flapping his wings, and he kind of just like stops in midair. So he's like gonna start falling soon. He's scrabbling, looking in his bag, and he throws like a little sphere at it, and then at the ground behind it, and
what is this? A new Dewey invention?
It hits the ground behind the creature, and there's a puff of very bright white light, like artificially bright. And it has to make a Constitution save.
Dewey invents a bomb.
It is a flashbang.
Oh, interesting. Okay, what's the DC on that?
14.
Okay, it fails. What does that mean?
It is blinded for 1 round.
Okay, sounds good. So as this bomb, like this flat, boo, like there's like a whoop kind of noise, and like a huge flash of white light like erupts out from the point of where you smashed it behind it. And as that happens, you see it rears backward, and it's like 4 of its like 7 or 8 heads like snap up like toward you, but like they're and they have like human like faces, but like their sockets are just empty, and they've got like these like holes, like almost like corpse faces, like these like long mouths that like yawn open into like these gaping black holes down its like pale throat. 4 of them like seem to look like blindly up for where the bomb came from, but the other ones all thrash around, and its necks are like wiggling in like a really weird way. Like, have you ever seen those like eels come out of the ground like they're wiggling? Oof, yeah, it's disgusting. And it slams down, but it misses Trout on its like poof, like on its like 2 like front like leathery like dragon like claws. And Trout, you see her like startle at the bomb, and also at like the huge claw slamming down on either side of her. She stumbles, she turns around, and she screams when she sees this thing. And then Dewey, the oddest thing happens. All of its mouths open. They were open before, but they seem to yawn wide even more. And then you hear it before you don't anymore. A song. It sings a song, the opening note of a song, like, and then it's gone. Like, as soon as it sang its song, like, it's gone. And Trout is left there, like, on the ground. She's shielding her face, like, maybe the bomb also got a little bit to her. She's going, what the hell? What? And she hears your flapping wings. Excuse, what was that?
Dewey swoops down, and kind of like puts his wings over her and is looking around furiously to make sure it's not still there.
On the muddy banks, you see those claw-like footprints, but you don't see this creature anywhere.
Do the footprints just disappear at some point?
They do. They just seem to have appeared when it appeared, and like disappeared when it disappeared. Almost like it was wiped from existence as soon as it started to sing. So
Okay,
Dewey, what do we leave the session off with? What thing do you say we're due?
Dewey apologizes for the bomb and with his voice is so shaky because this whole day has been an experience, and he says to Trout, you should come with us. I don't think you're safe out here. I don't think we're safe.
And on that, we end episode 7, arc 2 of Transplanar RPG. Thank you everyone for tuning in, for subbing, and for rating us and hosting us. We really, really, really appreciate it. We have been Transplanar RPG. We are an all transgender, people of color led, 100% homebrew, Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition live stream actual play campaign set in an original, non-colonial, anti-orientalist world designed by yours truly. My name is Connie. I am the GM and executive producer behind this project. My pronouns are they, he, and she. You can find me on Twitter. Excuse me, I had to burp. At by Connie Chong, and on Tumblr at at.and Daddy Issues. I'm also a professional GM with Magpie Games' curated play program. We will see you, I think, next week. But before I get into the details of next week, let's pass along introductions to Erica.
Hey everybody, Erica, she, her, played VNox Scherzo, and you can find me on social media at Erica New Girl, and you can find me here on Twitch, and come hang out with me. It's a goofy time. I'm the #1 solitaire player on Twitch. I will pass it on to C.
Hey y'all, my name is C. I use they, them pronouns. I played Oka in today's episode and every other episode that we've had so far also. I'm a dancer, digital artist, and Twitch streamer here. You can find me streaming at pi_sharp right here on Twitch. I just hit affiliate this week, which has been super, super exciting. You can find me streaming tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central Time on my own channel. I'm going to be making some art of our handsome new hot cowboy monster boyfriend. Maybe. I'm sorry. It's not my fault. You can also find me there on Tuesdays and Fridays at the same time, streaming art, and I will pass along introductions to Devin.
Hello, everyone. My name's Devin. I use they, them pronouns. I play Manaya Wairua. She is the normally cheerful, pun-loving, strong, very supportive fighter who is going through some shit. You can't find me on the internet, and if you do, you get some brownie points. But you can find me on our Discord server. Thank you, C, for putting the link in the chat. Like I said at the beginning, we have a great community full of lots of very cute pet pics. Post your pictures of your pets. That's not a Max.
I'm Max. I go by they, them pronouns. I have played Disaster Dad Dewey. You can find me on Instagram at Starchmonger or Stitchmonger. I'll pass it back to the DM.
Wonderful. Well, that was us. You can find episode 8, arc 2, next Saturday, February 27th at 3 p.m. Central US time. Tell your friends about us, tweet about us, add us on Instagram, Tumblr. We would love for you to follow us and for us to check you out in return. Thank you so much for watching our stream and supporting us. We are now going to raid Dicey Amazons. They are an all women of color, queer-led, tabletop RPG channel. They're wonderful and awesome. Stick around for that raid. We're going to raid them. We love you. We will see you next week for our only piece of programming. And peace out. Have a good time, y'all.